What is going on, everyone? What's happening? Another day in paradise, as they say. We are back with coffee, hence why this is called Coffee with Brodes. And what do we got tonight? Well, we got the Sixers and the Mavs. We have reactions to Claude Giroux and his dad's strength having 3 apples last night. So where do we begin? Let's go to the comments section here so I can see first. Yeah, the Claude Giroux game was interesting. The guy hasn't played in 2.5 weeks, and he comes back and has, 3 apples, just dishing the puck around. He was sensational in that win over the Rangers, but I also just think the Rangers stink that much. Yo, what's up, John Martin? What's going on? Thanks for coming on in. What's up, Kyle? Thanks for joining this morning on Coffee with Bros. I'm going to move this one area over a little bit so I can see the screen better. There you go. Just for right now, I can see the screen a little better. What's up, Frankie? Christian? Arm Zebra? What's up? What's going on? What do we have on the table today? You like my white screen? Are you making a joke that I leaned over and my white shirt was in the way? Because if you weren't, I don't know what you're referencing, and then I feel dumb. Cheers. I haven't had a sip of coffee yet, though, Mosh, so that's the problem. What's up, Pags? What's going on? Thoughts on the Sixers' schedule in the second half? Yeah, it's going to be bad. The second half schedule is not going to be easy. It's going to be brutal. You see some really tough stretches. Oh, I got you. I understand what you're saying, Mosh. I just have my canvas down right now, but normally my canvas is up. I think you need some coffee today. I think that's what needs to happen. Yeah, it's totally plain. I just took the canvas down and then I put it back up. But yeah, it's just plain. It's plain for Coffee with Brodes. The second half schedule, though, yeah, that's a doozy. Let's see if I can find a way to pull this up. I'm trying to think of who had the tweet that I saw their back-to-backs and this and that, and it gets pretty ugly. So what's that one stretch they end up having where it's Milwaukee? Yeah, here it is. It's April 12th to April 24th. Dallas Mavericks, Brooklyn Nets, LA Clippers, Golden State Warriors, Phoenix Suns, and the Milwaukee Bucks 2 in a row. Have fun. Have fun. Hudrick had the tweet out too. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's going to be a brutal stretch. You're going on the road. You're leaving the Wells Fargo Center. You're in a pickle. We'll see how the team responds, though. You see Joel Embiid give you 35 each night. That'll be nice. That'd be nice. I need a sip of this, by the way. I feel like I haven't even gotten a good... Yeah, I haven't been able to do that yet, so watch me do it. Just like I envisioned. Just like I envisioned. Adam Silver needs to pay for his crimes. Well, unfortunately, this is the world that we're living in, right? And I think if you look through a lot of these team schedules, you're going to see a stretch of some really ugliness. And you got to remember, in the beginning of the year, nobody wanted to admit it because they were playing so well. They had an easy schedule. They did not have a tough schedule to start the season. And nobody wanted to look at it from that way. They just wanted to appreciate the wins that they started out rocking with from the jump. But no, that's not how it works. You don't just get that easy ride. They had the second easiest schedule through the first 15, 16 games of the season in the entire NBA. So you had your benefits of being able to beat up on some bad opponents, which they did for the most part. And now you're going to get thrown this pit of bad games, this big stretch of bad games. So you're going to have the good ones. You're going to have the bad ones. Big play, Slay. What's up? Thanks for joining in, man. There's rumors of Hader going to the Padres. That's scary. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm all here for the Padres to get as nasty as possible because I want to see them go up against the Dodgers every single night. Thoughts on Doc Rivers so far? I think Doc Rivers has brought everything to the table that you would have liked him to in terms of professionalism and having that respectful voice, and the guys just appreciating Doc Rivers. Like, there is this new sense of urgency for him being here. And for him kind of, setting the new ways. His voice is heard for sure. Does he make some questionable decisions? Yeah, definitely. I think he had some, that play between Ben Simmons that got blew up, out of bound play against the Portland Trailblazers was wonky. He called a dribble handoff between Dwight Howard and Tobias Harris for a game-winning shot once, which resulted in Tobias Harris stepping out of bounds, and Shake Milton that game was going off and exploding, so I thought he picked the wrong guy. So he's had some tough moments in there as well, but I thought Doc Rivers, from a professionalism standpoint, has brought everything that you could have imagined. Well, it's Steven's birthday. It's my birthday, Brodes. Wake up to you. Hopefully, 76ers give me a B-Day win. Yeah, it'll be a tough matchup, although this team, this Dallas Mavericks team, they're not really what you would have envisioned in the beginning of the season. I want to see where they are now in the standings, because things have dipped off for this team. They are they're 15-15 now. So they're 500, and they're one spot out of the playoffs, which the Golden State Warriors have that 8th seed solidified right now with an 18-15 record. And you're finally starting to see Steph Curry be the Steph Curry of himself again, which is nice. We've missed that version of Steph Curry when he drops 40+, when he's dropping bombs, when he's shooting from the logo at half court. That version of Steph Curry, we're starting to finally see get implemented again, which is definitely a great thing to see for sure. I saw they dropped the second half schedules. Yes, they did. Yes, they did, Andrew, and it's going to be a doozy for this Sixers team. It's going to be competitive, and they're going to have some tough matchups. Holy hell, every day I burn my mouth about 8 or 9 times with my first cup of coffee. But I need you. I need you in my life now. As long as Danny and Ben can at least slow down Luka, and Joel has a job to stop. That Congo line, we can win. I'm a little confused, but I think I get your point here. If they can slow down Luka, they should be in a good spot. Yes, I would agree with you there. I want to know what type of Joel Embiid we get, because he's been shut down against the Raptors now. The Raptors have his number. They throw out this game plan of get the ball out of his hands, whether it takes 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 7 guys. Maybe 2 guys run off the bench to go double team them. They don't care how. They just do it. And the last 2 games have been rough for Joel Embiid. So I just question, what are you going to see out of Joel Embiid tonight, now going up against a fresher opponent, a different squad, and we'll see how that change of pace affects Joel Embiid. Should the Flyers look into Jack Eichel? I mean, of course, if someone like Jack Eichel is available, should they be able to look into it? Yes, for sure. Do I think that it's a realistic option? No, I don't, and that's where it kind of changes it for me. I don't think it's realistic. I don't think there's a good shot for it. So I'm not all jumping up and down thinking about Jack Eichel. But if Jack Eichel is available, he's obviously someone you go after and at least make phone calls about. Good morning from South Dakota. Love all your sports talk. Go Phillies. Now, let me ask you this. What made you from South Dakota a Philadelphia sports fan? Were you from Philadelphia, moved to South Dakota? Were you in South Dakota and realized, holy shit, there's nothing here at all? I love the Phillies. Like, what made you feel like you needed to become a Phillies fan? Going to be up to teams are starting to double Joel and also try to prevent the pass to him. Yeah, no doubt. They're like, don't even get the ball in his hands. Maybe not even when he gets the ball, it's coming out. Now it's getting to the point of don't even allow him to get that entry pass. But if he does, all right, go swarm him and then have him try and kick it out. He has done a better job at kicking out and finding his teammates, whether it's because they swing the ball so beautifully or the initial pass. He does try in this cross-court pass. Sometimes it got picked off late in the fourth against the Raptors in their second game. He does try and force some things, but he's getting flustered when the looks defensively, that is, comes from so many different angles and so many different guys. It's just throwing him in for a loop for sure. I would like to see Ben continue his offensive power, strength games that he's having. I don't even know if that made sense. Every time I go through a statement like that, chug. The coffee's supposed to help that. What's up, Matthew? What's going on? Giroux really was impressive last night. When they get everybody back and the group plays like that every game, it's going to be hard to lose. Centerpiece of the team. Mikey, here's where I'm having an issue. And it blows my mind because I know this team doesn't make sense, but I just feel like last night was more of a product of how bad the New York Rangers were. I thought the Rangers were the worst team I've ever seen in my life last night. Flipping the puck. They acted as if there were people banging on the glass in warm-ups asking for a puck. So they were just flicking the puck out of the zone. But not out of the zone. It was going over the boards, and it was giving the Flyers the power play. Here you go. Who wants the pucks? They were just nonstop flicking the pucks out of the ice. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. They were bad. Now, if you take away the Bruins' losses, the Flyers have a great record, and that keeps people optimistic. But there's something missing with this team. And what they're missing is not something that is allowed to be missed when it comes to playoff hockey. So I'm having a problem with this team specifically, figuring out what they are, who they're going to be, and their ceiling. I'm having a trouble figuring out their ceiling because their defense sucks. Do I think the Phillies will have a top 20 bullpen? I hope so. I don't know, though. Do you go from the most historic in the world to top 20? I guess it's possible. I'm intrigued by their moves. There's no doubt about it. Like, I enjoyed what they did this offseason. Now, they've taken some shots on guys. They've taken some flyers. But for the most part, yeah, I'm optimistic that they can at least be average. And even if they're a little bit below average, it's still significantly better than anything that you saw last season. You hate. Oh, hold on. This is the question that I asked for. A South Dakota person is in here. And they said that they love the Philly sports. So I asked why. Born and raised in Braves country, always loved the Phillies. Michael Jack Schmidt, married a Philly guy, moved to San Diego San Diego. I see SD and I go San Diego. Moved to South Dakota in August for the grandkids. Okay, how about that? So that's an interesting one. So you were born and raised in Braves County, but you follow up by saying this. Hate Braves and Falcons. So you grew up in that territory and you're out on Falcons and Braves. I would love to know why that is. Why do you grow up in there? Because one thing that's big with me in sport is this: community. Being a part of the community. Going to Wawa, getting your coffee, having an Eagles hat on. Let's say it's Saturday morning. You go to Wawa, you get your coffee, and you got an Eagles hat on. Well, so does the guy behind you. And the guy maybe throws maybe Carson will get some more completions this week. Maybe Carson won't throw an interception. Then you laugh. Or a Monday going into Wawa to get your coffee after an Eagles win. Everyone's on a good mood. Hey, how about Doug Peterson's play call on 4th and 3? Oh, yeah, that was great. It's all about that atmosphere where I think the community of sport is so big. And that's why, I don't have a problem. And I know it's hard for people to see this or admit that this is okay, but I do feel, let's say I live in Philadelphia for 20 years and I moved to, I don't know, let's say I moved to Seattle and I lived there for 30 years. At some point, I want to be a part of that community. 30 years, I'm there for 30 years. There will be a transition period, I would imagine. There'll be a transition period where I am now a Seattlesman. I am now part of the Seattle community. I want to bleed and be involved. I'm not saying, hey, you go move and then, hey, 1 year into it, you just switch all your teams and you lose everything they have. But there is a sense of being a part of that. And if you're going to be there for a long period of time, I think that, change is okay to a degree, to be honest with you. I really do. I know that sounds crazy and it's hard for some to believe because, you play the only teams you love. And I'm with you. I'm not saying it would be an easy transition, and there would always be love in my heart for the city and all, but you would have to imagine after 20-plus years of living in another area, you want to be a part of that. So, I don't know. That's kind of my takes on it. Nothing like Philly sports, no doubt. I saw an interesting question that came up. Oh, Christian asked, what do I think of the Claude Giroux firing? Interesting you bring that up. Kevin Durso and I just recorded a podcast this morning, Open Ice Hits episode 4, and we touched on that very topic. So be prepared as it's exporting now. What's the likelihood of Odorizzi in Philly? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know the likelihood. I'm going to Google. I know that there's talks. I would love it. That would be so great to solidify him as a 4 guy. Odorizzi, Phillies. Let's see if the first news story pops up. The Phillies have checked in And that's the quote here. Checked in on Jake Odorizzi. So let's see to the extent of it. I'm pulling up a Matt Mullen article on Philly Voice. I mean, it would be outstanding if they can pop something in like that. Now let's see. Odorizzi. Let's look up some of his stats here. He had he had an injury problem, which is what hurt him last season. He didn't play a significant amount of time. Barely played, to be honest with you. 13 innings pitched, so he was banged up. But the year before, he was an all-star in Minnesota, going 15-7 with the 3.51 ERA. Give me him with a 10-1 strikeout per 9 in that 2019 campaign. Give me Odorizzi. Feed me Odorizzi. I don't listen to Heyman. I know. I agree. And I brought this up before. I think it's so funny that in basketball, when Woj tweets something, it's real. When Shams tweets something, it's real. In hockey, you have the breaking story guys, Elliot Friedman and some of these other guys out there. You know when they tweet something, it's real. When Bob Nightingale and when Heyman tweet stuff out, you laugh. You think, really? Is it true? You wait for other guys to break the news. It's hilarious. It's so funny to me. Nobody respects the baseball writers at all. John Heyman's a fraud. Bob Nightingale is a fraud. Passan's good. For the most part, Passan's good. I think Passan does a good job. But these other guys are just a joke. Boston Celtics will win the toilet bowl. They're in a mess. And I saw reports that Brad Stevens should be on the hot seat. Yeah, Ken Rosenthal, by the way, that's another one. He's a fantastic journalist in the baseball world. It's funny. I actually used to think that Jeff Passan was a loser. I thought Jeff Passan was, I don't know, kind of gimmicky and all. But you see more of his personality as he jumps on all these Barstool podcasts. And he's boys with John Boy and he's boys with the guys over at Barstool. And I think when you see him more on this personal level, it almost makes me appreciate what he does on the air more, where he has become one of my favorite MLB analysts, where there were times in the past where I thought he was a joke. Really, I didn't like his gimmick. I didn't like his shtick. But he has grown more into a personality that I like more, just based off of seeing him more be out there. And you see a different side of him when he hops on these different shows. Do I think the 76ers can get to the finals with the bad Eastern Conference? Is it possible? Yeah, for sure it's possible. Would I bet it? No, probably not. I mean, I depending on the odds, like if there's a shot, like the odds are worth taking a chance on it, yes. I'm not putting my mortgage down on it. I think the Nets are really starting to solidify themselves as a scary weapon that can get buckets with the three-headed monster. And you can point at their flaws. You can point at the depth problems. You can point at the bench. That three-headed monster is a serious problem. And you're seeing the Brooklyn Nets start to run away with it. But the Sixers, they are in the same conversation as the Milwaukee Bucks. They're in the same conversation as any other team at the top of the East. So are they in the mix? For sure they are. But they have flaws too. Brodes, thoughts on Ben versus Luka later? Exciting. For sure it is, Joseph. I can't wait. I want to see him put clamps down. Now, this Dallas Mavericks team has not been the same. They just have not been. I want to see what Luka Doncic is averaging right now. I haven't tuned into too many Dallas Mavericks games so far this season. It's giving you 29 points per game, but what's our efficiency here? Playing 35 minutes, taking about 10 field goals, 47% from the field, 35% from three. So he's still balling pretty well. You know, he's still being Luka Doncic. It's just the team results are not there as much, man. He is a beast. He really is, averaging 9.2 assists per night. The kid is special. I wonder if the Atlanta Hawks ever think, damn, as much as they want to try and sell to you, they like Trae Young, and they think that's the nature of this game, Trae Young. And yeah, Luka's a baller. And I want to see what Ben Simmons does on the defensive end. Now, Doc Rivers has done this a few times. Are we going to see a scenario where Danny Green is the one defending Luka Doncic for a little bit of time, and then it's like, hey, we're gonna save Ben Simmons. We're gonna use him on the offensive side and let him be aggressive first, and then not use him on the defensive side, and then in the second half throw Ben Simmons on him? Or you're gonna get 4 quarters of Ben Simmons lockdown. with very limited amount of time for somebody else to be on him. Which way are they going to go? Because you've seen that. You've seen that this year where Doc won't throw his best defender on the best opponent, and then in spurts, Ben will go on him. Or there will be a second half adjustment where they throw Ben on him in the second half to throw him in for a loop. We'll see. But I want to see the most time possible of Ben doing Ben Simmons things to Luka defensively. Yeah, Kristaps Porzingis is apparently on not the trading block, but they're taking calls. They're not afraid to take calls. Here we have Alec Pags with the $10 donation. I feel like we do this all the time, but Lahiumph, cheers. Thank you. You're the best. You're amazing. The support is unbelievable. I can't even put it into words. You're an amazing friend. Thank you. Thank you so much for the support. Chiming in every day on Coffee with Brodes. It is an amazing feeling. It really is. It's going to be a real amazing feeling when Monday we do this for the first time. For real, for real. And what I mean by that is, not that this isn't for real. This is actually happening. This is real life. But the news did drop on Wednesday's show or Tuesday's show on the Sports Bash. This is my last week at 97.3. I am going to fully commit to Brodes Media. We are making the full-time commitment to content creating. So Sports Talk with Brodes will have more. Coffee with Brodes will have more. Adding more shows to the mix, more live streams, pregame shows. Hell, maybe it's just kick back and playing video games. I am committing to Brodes Media full-time, so it will be my legit gig. No more 97.3, no more Sports Bash. It is 100% going all in on this right here, Brodes Media. So I am super excited to make this move. You know, it was a big move for me to get the opportunity to co-host Afternoon Drive in Atlantic City. I did it for 1 year. I've been at the station for 2 years, but for 1 year, I did the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I learned so much about this business. I learned so much about the radio side of things, my own broadcasting side of things, interviewing guests, getting big-time guests on John Clayton weekly. I mean, are you kidding me? The guy's a legend. It's just awesome. So I loved every moment I had on the air at 97.3. Today and tomorrow, my last 2 days, it's really surreal. Like, it's sad. There's a side of me that is really sad about leaving that, but I'm also so excited for the future of this. So it's a mixed emotions for sure. But that's the big announcement that I was waiting to kind of drop on everyone. We get a $2 donation coming in. Thank you, Hunter, for everything, Philly. This is from husband and wife, Eagles for Life. Thank you so much for chiming in and supporting this channel and everything that we do here. Thank you so much. So, yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that that's where we are. That's where everything is going. So, starting Monday, I have it written down on my calendar right here, Brodes Media, day one, full time. It's surreal. It gives me the goosebumps. It really does. And this couldn't happen without you. It could not happen without everyone who's sitting here today that supports what I do and that supports Philadelphia sports. So thank you. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. How about this question? Let me throw this video up real quick. I'm going to upload Open Ice Hits as we're doing this live stream. So how about that? We're going to multitask here. We're going to drop this into YouTube. So right now, as we speak, we do have a video uploading to YouTube. Open Ice Hits. If you are an NHL fan, be prepared for that to drop probably within the hour. I'm excited for that one. It's a doozy. But this question on the board. Brodes, can you please tell me how these Sixers fans think that the Bulls are trading their best player when they are in the hunt and probably get in that tournament before the postseason starts? Yeah, I think it's crazy that people think that you're going to be able to make that move for, just give them Matisse Thybulle and Tyrese Maxey and all these guys. Why would the Bulls want to do that? If you have Zach LaVine, let's put the shoe on your foot, or the shoes, both shoes, on both feet. Would you give up Zach LaVine for Tyrese Maxey and Matisse Thybulle? Like, yeah, there'd have to be some picks in play and all, but I don't know. Like, you would want to get a Zach LaVine with what you get back, right? Like, if you are given a package for Zach LaVine, what you want in return is Zach LaVine. With those picks that you get, you want to, let me go get Zach LaVine. Like that type of player. That's the result you want to get when you use those draft picks. But you have that. So you have that. You have what you are trying to get with the pieces from the package that you're getting from another team. So I don't know why people feel the need to throw all these names out there and say, oh, this and that, and trade Maxey. Like, Maxey's not even in the rotation right now. Do you think Maxey's going out and grabbing you a star? No. And the Kyle Lowry thing, that's going to take you so much to go and grab Kyle Lowry. I don't know if it's worth it. You're going to have to crush your bench to go out and get one guy. Is that enough? Is that enough? I don't know. Thank you, Braden, so much for the congratulations. Omar as well. Soccer Geek, thank you. Ruben, thank you for all the great words. B King 51, gonna miss keeping Gil and Josh. Gonna miss you keeping Gil and Josh in check. I love that for sure. I have to let him know. Look, people see the value that I have at the station when it comes to those two. Someone's got to do it. It's not an easy job. Someone has to do it. Yeah, I'm gonna miss my time there too. I really am. It's gonna be. Like I said, it's sad, but it's exciting at the same time. It's like I'm nervous, excited, sad, stoked, upset, disappointed, pumped, like everything. Every emotion you can think of is where I'm at here. Are all Open Ice hits on YouTube? Yes, all Open Ice hits episodes are on YouTube. They have their own podcasting platform for Apple Pod, Spotify. So go ahead to Open Ice hits. Go there on Apple Podcasts and leave a rating if you could. That would be really appreciated. Do I think Ben will be less aggressive after he made the All-Star game? I think this is just the flow of Ben Simmons. There's positives where he goes through 10 games of greatness, and then there's negatives of 10 games of weak play. So I think just the nature of Ben Simmons, whether it's because of the All-Star game or not, I don't know if that's what plays the role 100%. I do think that there is a sense of urgency when that time comes around to really put a stamp on things. And then once he does, it's okay, well, I made the All-Star game. So I can't rule that out. But we'll see. You know, I think that there is something clicking differently with Ben Simmons this year that is definitely something new. And it is a new aspect of his game. So add that to the mix. So will you see a little bit of a downfall? Maybe you will, just based off of human nature. But at the same time, I do think that there's a little bit of a different mindset with Ben this year that maybe will change that. Now, Greg Sandler here says something great. I need a Brodes Media mug. Well, Greg, we're going to make that happen. All right? Just be in the loop. We're going to make some of this stuff happen. Who is the defenseman the Penguins took off the Flyers waivers? Friedman. He stinks. I can't believe the reaction that I saw. There were people so disappointed that the Flyers allowed Mark Friedman to get picked up by the Penguins. Mark Friedman blows. Mark Friedman's bad. Mark Friedman's a 7th, 8th, 9th defenseman. Who cares? Yeah, Ron Hextall snagged him. He was part of the Ron Hextall situation here in Philly. So, of course, he's going to go try and land one of his guys that he was a part of when he was here as the GM in Philadelphia. Mark Friedman stinks. Don't overreact to this. Brodes Media boxer briefs? Well, now we're talking. Property of Brodes on some women's underwear? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Just spitballing. I wish Chicago had sports personality like Brodes. I dislike Philly since the double doink, but man, the guy's entertaining. Thank you so much. Yeah, look, I mean, I just scream about the teams I love. You know, it's just that simple. I turn on this camera. I make this microphone work. Test 1, 2, 1, 2. And I just start screaming about these damn teams. I do have some merch, Joseph. I do. It's on every single YouTube video underneath. There is some Sports Talk with Brodes merch, but we are going to be intensifying the merch. That's part of Brodes Media. It's part of Brodes Media taking the next step, really. I guess I need to learn how to get my words out if I'm going to continue to do this. But yeah, there's going to be some new additions all around in so many aspects. We're going to do things on Twitch. We're going to have exclusive things on Twitch. We're going to have more live streams. I'm really excited about this pregame live thing I really want to start doing. So some things to work out. There's still some kinks along the way. And this couldn't have happened without Josh Weinfeld, who does a great job. So shout out to Josh if you're listening. You're the man. So it's fantastic. Ethan, as a Raptors fan, I wouldn't want to let Kyle Lowry go. You want Kyle Lowry at any reasonable cost. Does all the little things that don't show up on the stat sheet. Well, Ethan, you are right. But if you are knowing that he's going to walk away at the end of the year, if you can get something in return, well, then you might have to pounce on that opportunity. The thing is, the Raptors are playing better basketball right now, and they have won, They did win at 1.16 straight games without Kyle Lowry. Now, that's not to say that they can win a championship without Kyle Lowry. Quite frankly, they don't have enough star power to do it anyway, in my opinion. They play a good team game, but you need a superstar to win in the NBA. And this organization would be the one to know that flat out. If he's going to walk away at the end of the year, why not get something in return? You can also look at it as go for one last push. And the package needs to be right. That's the thing. They're playing better basketball, though. Do they feel that they have a chance? Do they feel, because no one's running away with this thing in the East. The Brooklyn Nets aren't, even though they're playing better basketball. They might by the end of this. In 1 week from now, we could be having a totally different conversation about this team. But right now, no one's running away with it. And without anyone running away with it, do they feel they're in the mix with anybody else? They just banged with the Philadelphia 76ers pretty well over the last 2 nights. Or 2 games, I should say. Well, if the Philadelphia 76ers are second behind the Brooklyn Nets, I'm just saying, whatever the standings actually say, I think the Brooklyn Nets are a better team. So if the Sixers are the second best team in the Eastern Conference, or the first, and the Raptors are banging with them, what does that say to the Raptors front office? And how do they think that they should make that move, if they should or shouldn't? Let's see. Do you think the Sixers can beat Nets in a 7-game series? I honestly don't know. Time Pat. Oh, I hit the wrong one. I honestly don't know. I don't know. And I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody has the answer to that. We haven't seen this team really go up against that squad healthy. We haven't seen that team play with their 3-headed monster against the Sixers. And even if they did, I can't put too much stock in a regular season game, unfortunately. So I don't think we have the answer to that question. Will it be a blowout? No, I think it's 2 good teams. So could they? I guess in theory, yes, they could. Do I think that they will? Probably not. They'd probably fall short because there's something to be said about that next tier. And they have 2. I don't know if Kyrie Irving's on that insane tier, but Harden and Kevin Durant are. And you have 2 players that can play at a Joel Embiid level. When you have just Joel Embiid, they can triple that. And Kyrie has the ability to do it. He might not do it at a consistent basis like the others do, but he has the ability to take over a game. I wouldn't put my money down on it, but could they? Sure, I think that they could. Travis Lutz with the $5 donation. You're the man, Brodes. No, Travis, you are the man. You are the man. Thank you so much for all the support you have given me over the last handful of years. I respect you so much for coming in and always being a part of the show. I see your name all around. You stand out to me. You look, all of you really do. There's so many names I see every single day. But Travis has been rocking with me for so damn long. I respect your dedication to Brodes Media and listening every single day. Thank you so much, Travis, for the $5 donation. You are fantastic. That series is definitely going to 7 games. Really? Definitely going to 7? I could see it going 6. I could see it going 5. I don't think it's 4. I don't think it's definitely 7. I could see it going 5, but it being close games where they come down to the wire and in the last couple of minutes, maybe the Sixers choke each night, which makes it a shorter series, but it was a competitive series. Like this, the saying, oh, went 5 wouldn't do it justice because there was more to it than that. I don't know if it's definitely 7. Where do I think the Eagles go at 6? Frankie Chocolates? That's a good one. Let me ponder as I take another fat sip of this outstanding Wawa coffee. Okay. So I see a lot of people are upset that the Eagles are doing some research at 6 at quarterback. I don't want them to do it, but I just don't know how you blame them for that. I don't know how you blame them for looking at the quarterbacks, doing their research, doing their homework, checking things out. Where do I think the Eagles go at 6? I think they're going to end up taking the wide receiver. I do. I think at the end of the day, there's going to be a wide receiver in play that they're not going to be able to pass up on, whether it's Chase or Devontae Smith. So my gut feel tells me they're going to go status quo, try to not get too pretty, and just take the wide receiver. Now, maybe this is me being optimistic. Maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, but there's a lot of pressure involved too. There's a lot of drama surrounding this team, and they care about the PR. They care about how they look. They care about how they're viewed, which is bonkers considering the situation that they're in and their inability to see that this has become a nightmare. But they do care. And I just wonder, with the Carson Wentz drama, Nick Sirianni, and this and that, to maybe save face a little bit, they go out on a guy, so then they can't get double guessed. If Jamar Chase ends up being a bust, which I can't imagine that happening, or if Devontae Smith can't play, which I can't find happening, then they can result to, look, this was the guy everyone was screaming for. We picked the guy that everybody wanted. Not that they're picking guys that the fans want. They need to make the assessment themselves, and clearly they pick what they want over the fan base because it's been showing in the last couple of drafts and all. But my point is, if they go status quo with the drama that's surrounding this team right now, it's an easier sell. And I just wonder, will they go with an easier sell? And it's the right pick too, though. That's the thing. It's an easier sell, and it's a good pick too. So it's a win-win almost. It's a win-win almost, if that makes sense. It's between, jumping around the Phillies here. Man, every time someone comments, the next thing pops up. It's between Phillies and Giants and Jays because Odorizzi doesn't want to go to the Angels. I would love Odorizzi here. I would be stoked if Odorizzi is a part of this rotation. You're talking about now, well, I think right now they're an 85-win team. Vegas has them set at 80.5. I think they're 85. Would Odorizzi jump them up bigger to like 86, 87? I don't know. Does Odorizzi make that? If you get the 2019 version of Odorizzi, well, now you're definitely making a significant jump. The problem is you got guys like Ian Anderson, who I love in Atlanta. Not that one guy is, that's the difference. But my point is the rotations in this division are filthy. And you might have a nice rotation, but because everybody else's is so lethal, it limits what your rotation can really do. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. I take Chase, Smith, or Pitts. I'm cool with that. You can't pass up on Surtain. You need a corner outside of Darius Slay. You saw Avonte Maddox get abused. You need that. You really do. Brodes, the reason we blame them is because they already messed up in taking Hurts last year. It was already dumb enough, in my opinion, to trade Carson. It was already dumb enough, in my opinion, to trade Carson Wentz, but it would be even more dumb to not ride with Hurts. Yeah, so a lot here, Omar. I'm with you with it was stupid to take Jalen Hurts last year. I think we're all in agreement there. If they don't think because it was almost as if they took Jalen Hurts to be the backup. They took Jalen Hurts to be a gadget player. They don't think of him as a franchise guy. So if the mindset was in the second round, which is dumb in its own right, but he's not a franchise guy. He's a backup guy. And we value the backup. Well, then you can't just ride with a backup guy, a guy that you think is a backup, when you have a 6th overall pick and you have a possibility to land someone who can possibly be a franchise guy. So I'm telling you, the logic is flawed. The logic makes no sense. It is a really bad way to go about business. But if this is your circumstance, if you don't think Jalen Hurts is a starter and you picked him in the second round just to be a gadget and a backup, you can't just roll with him as your starter forever because you think that because you took him there, knowing that he isn't that guy. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's where I have the disconnect. So you make a mistake. You make a mistake in picking Hurts and valuing him there. You don't make a second mistake in going with him if you feel he's not good enough to do it, and if you think there is an option that's better. I don't know if there's an option that's better. I'm not sold on Zach Wilson. I'm not sold on Justin Fields. It's not as if there's a handful of guys that I really love. I love Trevor Lawrence. That's about it, and you're not getting Trevor Lawrence. So I don't think that the alternatives in this specific draft move the needle for me so much to take that risk, but if the Eagles do, then I think they have to do it. Worst case scenario would be Hurts sucks, but then you have 3 picks in the top 40 next year to take a quarterback. Yeah, I'm not rooting for Jalen Hurts to suck. I'm not. I want this team to succeed. Mike says, do you still have faith in Jake Elliott? He was not good last year. Yeah, he was bad. Yeah, Howie signs him to the contract, and then he falls apart. It's crazy what happens when Howie signs you to a contract. Good thing he's not signing me to any contract. I'd fall apart too. How about this? Mr. 89. Unpopular opinion. After watching the reasons why Kansas City lost in Super Bowl 55, I want the Eagles to draft school or a high-ranking offensive line. That's the only offensive lineman you would see in that area there, I would imagine. And that you'd be lucky for him to fall to 6. I'm not out on offensive line. I think it's not sexy. It's not sexy, and the fans won't love it, but it's something that's needed. You win with the trenches. I'm scared to rely on Lane Johnson. I'm scared to rely on Brandon Brooks. I'm scared to rely on Jason Kelce, although he hasn't shown signs of missing games due to the injury side of things. But he's banged up and he's at the back end of the career. No doubt about it. So with that being said, I think, though, there's enough to hold yourself over. I don't know if now is the time to pounce an offensive line. You need a wide receiver. You need an outside corner. You need the linebacker help. You need defensive end help maybe. You need help all around. You do. You need help all around. And I think you can get by with Jordan Mailata, Isaac Seumalo, Jason Kelce, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson. Well, it might not be the next 3-4 years, but I think in terms of next year, and keep in mind, this organization, you want to bash them for a million things, have at it. They deserve to get ripped and criticized a lot. What they are really good at is drafting and developing linemen. Who knows what Jack Driscoll can be? Who knows what Nate Herbig can be? Who knows what is Jordan Mailata the left tackle of the future? He might be. He's a 7th-round guy. So my point is, I think that this organization does so well with these younger guys, developing guys, and in that area where you struggle so much with wide receiver and you struggle so much with developing corner, take your shots at the top with those players. And then, look, there's always going to be a year where you go high with a Lane Johnson and you go high with an offensive lineman. I'm cool with it, really. I can respect that, and I think it's needed, and it's mandatory, even though it's a hard sell to the common fan. The diehard fans will recognize how important that is, but I don't know if this year's the year to do that. I think you still have enough to get by while you have so many other flaws. I wouldn't go down that road, but I understand why doing it, and building that line is important, and you got to get younger quicker. There's no denying it. There's not much time left in the tank for this line, although there still is some time left. Francisco Lindor is in the chat. That's nice. Is it a possibility that the Eagles trade back for more picks? I think everything's on the table. I really do. Some of me likes that because there's so many problems. The other side thinks you're trying to get too cute. Get a guy. Get a playmaker. Just go get a guy. Don't overthink this. Get a player that can help this team, please. Just go get a player. Just go get someone who's going to be a difference maker for this organization, right? Isn't there a little bit inside of you that thinks the same way? Well, I value that second pick that you can get. And look, if the package is steep enough for someone that wants to go from 8 to 6 or 9 to 6 or 10 to 6, fine. I mean, if that package is significant enough, take it. I'm not telling you not to take it. Take it. But there is a side of me that thinks you guys suck right now. You guys are on the hot seat in the draft room, in the war room. Get a player. Don't try and be too ridiculous here. What would your thoughts... what do I think about Micah Parsons? I think he's a hell of a player. And I think that he is this new version of linebackers. Versatile, can play in the box, can do a little bit in coverage. Like, he can do everything, right? It's one of those players where the versatility is in check. You haven't had a cornerstone piece on defense in so long, a young one. You had Malcolm Jenkins, which was, and I value everything Malcolm Jenkins did here, and Fletcher Cox is a name for sure, but it's time to hit the refresh button on that cornerstone player that you can build around. I would be in on Parsons. I would not be mad at all. Chris Sheehan with the $2 donation. Would you rather watch 2020 Phillies bullpen or 2015-16 Sixers? I'm going Phillies bullpen, and here's why. Thank you so much for the $2 donation, by the way. Why I go with that is I thought the Phillies bullpen was so inspirational. It really was. Like, how can you be that bad? It inspired me to watch. It was inspiring because it's that putrid. Matt Clintock failed that miserably. I was inspired never to be as bad as Matt Clintock was. I had humor involved. I was laughing. I was entertained with pain. I was laughing because it was so bad. It was destroying me, but it was so funny. It really was. There was an entertainment value. Could they do this again? Will they blow this again? How are they going to blow this 9-1 lead in the 7th inning? And they did. So I thought that it was a funny watch. I don't think the Sixers were a funny watch. They were just bad. You know what I mean? They were just bad. They just threw slop out there. The Phillies would have a lead. Their offense would click. You'd score 6 runs. And then you would see Brandon Workman come in. Or you would watch Adam Morgan come in. Or who else? Alvarez got his nutsack taken off with a line drive back to the mound. All these things. Like, I thought that it was funny. The Sixers season wasn't funny. It was just miserable. And there's the difference. Is Matt Clintock still with the team? Actually, Joseph, yeah, he is. They put him in a different spot in the organization, if you will. So they didn't fire him. He stepped down from the GM. His ass got fired with all this nonsense wording. He got fired. Now he's picking up balls in spring training. When guys are hitting balls, he's out in the field catching the balls and then throwing them back into the bucket. That's what he's doing. Can Howie please pick the best talent available at 6 and someone that is going to be here for long term? Can he at least do that? That is from Morgan Holmes. I hope so. I hope so. And I know this isn't a topic that people like to hear or want to hear because it seems like it's taking Howie off the hook. But how much of this is Jeffrey Lurie just making decisions at times? Like, it's the only logical approach. And the problem is there's not a lot of logic here used at all in the Eagles organization. But when you see Howie Roseman keep his job after the recent stretch of what he's done since the Super Bowl, something tells me that Jeffrey Lurie knows that Howie Roseman wasn't making all of these brutal decisions. Because if he was making these brutal decisions, he wouldn't be here. Now, that's not to say he didn't have any, because he definitely had some. He definitely plays a role. He definitely has a voice. He definitely was heard in some of these bad decisions. But when someone is this brutal at it, there's got to be another layer to the context here. And knowing what happens behind closed doors and how shady things have been, to rule out that Jeffrey Lurie understands that Howie isn't in play in all of these bad ones. Maybe he's part of 50% of them, which is still a problem. Maybe 60, 70% of them, still a problem. But for the people outside of the franchise, they think it's 100% all Howie. Well, maybe it's only 50, which still sucks. Still sucks. But in terms of how does Howie have a job still? That's a question that is thrown around 10 million times a day on Twitter and in the barber shop and at work by the water cooler. And I think a lot of that is because I think Howie Roseman is overstepped by Jeffrey Lurie in so many aspects that, well, Howie Roseman looks, or Jeffrey Lurie looks at it from a standpoint of, well, Howie's not even making these decisions. I am. So how am I supposed to put the blame on him? I really do think that that's a possibility. Here's my guy. Philly Mike. I'm on the start Hurts train. Need blue chip players now. If Hurts plays great, if Hurts plays good, great. If he's bad, well, we might be in the same situation with more capital in 2022 because of fire sale of older players. I agree with you there. I think that it's time to just rock with Hurts, see what he gives you. He at least gives you that intrigue. What he did last year, while it wasn't pretty, and he went 1-3, and the second halves were bad, and he was missing throws, and there were some problems. All he did was take off a lot that got people pretty intrigued. There were some nice throws, though, down the sidelines and whatnot that Carson Wentz wasn't making. So I think when we looked at it from a Carson Wentz angle and then looked at it from a Jalen Hurts angle, we got mesmerized because it's been so damn long since we saw Carson Wentz make any of those type of plays. It wasn't pretty, but I thought that he had enough swag to him. And he had enough in the relationship department with the locker room that leaves you feeling like, hey, let's just see what's in there. And if it's bad, all right, fine, it's bad. But I don't know if it's going to be as bad as everybody says. Everyone thinks this team's going to suck for 5, 6, 7 years. And I just think that's an overreaction type of feel. They might not be great next season. I really think that it's possible here. And maybe I'm an asshole, which is definitely in the conversation. You might have a 5-win season. You might have a 6-win season, but it won't be pull your hair out. This is egregious and frustrating football. Last year, you didn't appreciate 1 second of any snaps that Carson Wentz took. It was miserable football. And I just feel that you can have a 5-6 win season where, like, let's look at the Cincinnati Bengals for a scenario. And the fact that I'm even comparing the Eagles to the Cincinnati Bengals tells you everything you need to know. But I guess this is me looking at it from a glass half full mindset instead of empty, which I pick and choose when to look at it each way, of course. But you can win a limited amount of games, but there's a good feel. There's an entertainment part of things. And you can grow for the next year. Like, okay, Joe Burrow was fun. Now, he had a gruesome injury, so it's hard to use him. But before the injury happened, it's okay. All this builds up for more intrigue heading into the next year. I wonder, can you be in a spot where Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, maybe they win 5 or 6 games, but you're not ripping your hair out. You're seeing good things with the offensive line. You're seeing good things from the offensive creativity. Jonathan Gannon really explodes nice for his first year as a defensive coordinator. You see new ideas and concepts that Jim Schwartz didn't bring to the table, and everything just leads to maybe not the most results and the best winning percentage, but you're excited for the following year. I just wonder if that is something that's possible. And this is a comment saying, definitely in the conversation, LOL, about me being an asshole. Well, that's not nice. How dare you? Hey, John, what's going on? What's happening? Which round should the Eagles target a cornerback? Well, there's 2 ways to look at it. You can go for Surtain at 6 and then get a wide receiver in the second round, or you can get a wide receiver at 6, Chase, Devontae Smith, and maybe go out and get a cornerback in the second round. It all depends on how they value the talent there. If they think that the wide receiver depth in this draft would give them a great possibility in the second round to grab some wide receiver, then they go down that road. If they don't think the cornerback depth is that great, and maybe you don't have the opportunity to go out and snag a second round level corner because it won't be beneficial to your franchise. So it all comes down to their draft board and how they weigh it. I mean, it's possible first round is the pick there. Trade for Lowry. Yes and no. I'm in a pickle there. I think that one's tough. I really don't think it's as easy as it thinks. If it takes you, Kyle Lowry, right, who's making $30 million. This is the last year. Not even 1 year left. This is the last year. So an expiring deal. You're going to have to match that money. So Danny Green's going to come off. That's $15 million. And I know the easy answer to that is good. He stinks. Well, he's still valuable to this team. So Danny Green at $15 million. You're going to have to throw in like a Mike Scott. You're going to have to throw in like a Poirier. You're going to have to throw in maybe like a Shake Milton and a Tyrese Maxey, because they're not going to want it for just money matching. You're going to now have to throw in young players too, because they don't want money. Why would they want Mike Scott, Danny Green, Poirier, and Ferguson? No, they're not going to want. They're going to need way more. They're going to want something. That's not giving them anything. That's giving them expiring contracts that come off the book. At that rate, you keep Kyle Lowry. So you need to throw a Shake Milton in the mix, a Tyrese Maxey. So if you lose Danny Green, Mike Scott, Shake Milton, Tyrese Maxey, Poirier, I'm just spitballing numbers. This isn't exactly how the money works. Is that worth Kyle Lowry? So now you have Ben Simmons, Kyle Lowry, Seth Curry, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. And here's your bench. Matisse Thybulle, Furkan Korkmaz, Dwight Howard. You stink on the bench. Matisse Thybulle has no offensive game. Furkan Korkmaz has no defense whatsoever. And Dwight Howard's going to give you 6-7 minutes because of how many minutes Joel Embiid's going to play. You are significantly different. And yes, you can make sure that Kyle Lowry runs with the second unit, and you can find a way to make the rotations make sense. But I think you crush yourself. Your starting 5 is better, for sure. But I wonder if having Shake Milton, having Danny Green, having Tyrese Maxey, having all of these players in the mix makes you better with depth and with numbers. That's the way I see it. But I can see both sides to it, and that's why it's so tough. Now, where are we here? I saw someone bring something. Okay, so Philly Jackson says, I'm not comfortable giving up Maxey. And Maxey's going to be a good player. But this is what I know in the NBA. When you're ready, you're ready. And Tyrese Maxey's a guy who might not be ready for 5 years, 4 years. He's a prospect and he's a work in progress for sure. I love him. I think he's great. I think he's going to be a great player. But if you're an NBA championship level team, to have Tyrese Maxey on the edge of your bench and not playing, that's the type of player where, because someone asked me the other day, would you rather give up of Shake, Matisse, and Maxey? Who would you rather give up? And Maxey's going to be the better player of all three of them. I really do believe that. The problem is that's not for years away. That's years down the road. So because of that, I think Matisse is going to make an impact on this team now. I think Shake Milton's going to make an impact on this team now, where I think Tyrese Maxey's the higher ceiling, which might give you the best in return, though. So you got to give to get. And when you're in a ready now mode, Tyrese Maxey's the type of player that you give up for. I'm okay with giving up on him. I'm not in that mindset of 4 or 5 years down the road to wait for what Tyrese Maxey can be, because you have Ben and Joel. The window's now. So I'm with you on being uncomfortable with it because of what he can grow into. But timetable-wise and window of opportunity-wise, I think that's what you need to look at it. I think Morey would add a third team to lessen us having to give up so much. You still have to match the money, though. You would have to match the money, so the other team would have to put on money. You'd have to give up a lot. Moral of the story is you're still going to have to give up a lot. And you're going to be depleting what might be the advantage over the Brooklyn Nets. I thought Mike Gill said something really good yesterday. I heard him say something about, right now, the Brooklyn Nets will outgun you. The Sixers will defend you, and they have, not that their depth is great, because we do complain about the bench, but the depth is better than what the Brooklyn Nets have. So right now, you have a philosophy of defense and bench over the Brooklyn Nets. Well, if you now bring in Kyle Lowry, well, you have another defender, and this team will defend, you might lose Matisse Thybulle. Let's say Matisse Thybulle's in the deal with Shake Milton. Now you're really hurt. Let's say that's the deal. Shake Milton and Matisse Thybulle. Now you're hurting defensively, and you're hurting with depth. And now your philosophy is, let's see if we can outgun them. So now you're going to try and outgun the Brooklyn Nets, who have gunners that are better than your gunners. I don't know if that's the best mentality. Maybe the best thing to do is to stick to your game plan, stick to your guns, and try and beat them with this team and the way that it's built now. But I do think Lowry makes your team better. You give up Danny Green, you give up Shake Milton, you give up Tyrese Maxey, you give up Matisse Thybulle. While you might take, let's say you add Kyle Lowry to this team, you take 5 steps forward. But if you lose the pieces you lose to acquire him, you take 4 steps back. So you take 1 step forward. Is the 1 step forward worth it? Maybe it is. Maybe it is, because it's a step forward. But that hurts you for next year, because Kyle Lowry's off the books, and now you lose Shake Milton. You lose Matisse Thybulle. You lose these players that you would have had. Is that 1 step closer for this 1 year worth it for next year? Worth it for the year later? I don't know. It's a tough question to ask. This is one of the tougher would you make those trades that we've had in quite some time here. There's no doubt about it. So let me take this fat swig here of coffee. And unfortunately, as the clock ticks, I should say, it's almost 10 o'clock. I can go for a mean breakfast, though. Maybe make an omelet, make some eggs, get into the mix there. So with that being said here, I appreciate everyone that has hung out with me this morning. Coffee with Brodes. As always, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. You can find Coffee with Brodes. Obviously, the Sports Talk with Brodes post-game reaction shows, they're still going to be there. Just be aware of more content coming your way, though. Still some things to dial in on. Set schedules is something that I like to look into, because I like to have a schedule where hey, every day this is what's happening. So I definitely want to work out like a program. So hey, Brodes is here and here. Instead of just throwing it all at randomly, I'm going live, this and that. So I'm trying to get it structured down so there is a game plan. But Brodes Media is going to be in the full swing of things starting Monday. And it's wild. Surreal is the way that I describe it every single time, because it's amazing to me. And it couldn't have happened without all of you once again. So with that being said, thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. I always feel awkward saying that, because saying I'll see you tomorrow morning, it's true, 9 a.m., but I'm also going to see you tonight, just not live, but it'll be after the Sixers game. Sixers, Mavs. I can't wait. See you guys tonight/tomorrow. Yeah, that makes sense.